everyone. Good evening. I hope all of you guys are hale and hearty, fit and fine. And I am your host, Swaima, and I cordially welcome each one of you to our fresh episode on how to give a great TEDx talk. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's remember what Jim Rohn, a very prominent American business tycoon and self help guru, had once said. The basic purpose of communication is for people to say, me too, and not so what, which means as an effective public speaker, it's important that we basically strive towards becoming relatable, compatible, and more audience centric. How do we do that? Well, that's exactly what we teach you in these episodes. As you all know, my dear participants, that these episodes on how to give a great TEDx talk primarily focus on helping you become a more confident, a more competent, and a more charismatic public speaker by remembering a few do's and don'ts, pros and cons, things that you need to remember every time you give a TED talk or a mock presentation or a presentation or a speech. Now, even though we use the term TED Talks or TEDx Talks all the time, let's remember that it's not just about giving a TEDx talk. And the general rules that we share with you, the guidelines we share with you, are primarily relevant for all kinds of speaking engagements, whether it's a speech or a debate or a group discussion or an interview or an elevator speech, any kind of conversation, communication, or public speech. These guidelines will come handy and help you mitigate your PSA, public speaking anxiety or public speaking apprehension. All right, my dear participants, on that note, once again, welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much for being in this journey with me. We go live on Facebook and YouTube from Monday to Friday at 7:15 p.m. IST. And in these 40 minutes, my dear participants, I walk you through some mantras, some tactics, some techniques on how to become a more effective communicator and how to connect with your audience, how to generate more engagement tools, and eventually accomplish your mission of reaching out to more people with your compelling message. So, on that note, it's time for us to embark upon our episode for the day, that is, how to deliver a great TEDx talk and eventually dazzle your audience with your oratory skills. Oh, well, my dear participants, as you all know that we are almost done with 30 episodes of this series, and you can access all the previous episodes on YouTube as well as Facebook. So please make sure that you go through the previous episodes as well to actually get an idea about how wholesome and enriching and informative our content is. Please make sure you check out the previous episodes as well because we have tried exploring different themes and different topics under the topic how to deliver great TEDx talk. So we basically dealt with episodes on self-confidence, body language, climate crisis, Olympics, pros and cons of social media. We dealt with the power of humanity, the power of positivity, meditation, etc., etc. And right now we are dealing with a very interesting topic called stress and de-stress. So primarily, my dear participants, we've dealt with a variety of topics to help you understand that a TEDx talk can be delivered in absolutely any topic under the sun. So please do check out our previous episodes as well and do write your feedback to me so that I can improvise my performance and eventually serve you in a more authentic and more effective manner. All right, so let's see what we have in store for us today. So, as you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda for the day is very, very simple. I'm going to start off with an icebreaker, and then I'll begin with the fundamentals of a TED Talk. I'm going to share with you the three basic fundamentals once again. I'll then move on to the three essentials in details. All right. After I introduce a fundamental, we'll become one fundamental for the day, and then we'll be discussing that fundamental using three different elements with proper, clear, and coherent examples. We'll also have games like Who Said This, Fastest Fingers First. I'm going to ask you some questions at the end titled Think Smart, and I'm going to give you a summary as well at the end so that you know exactly what your takeaways are. Apart from this, my dear participants, we also have some bonuses for you. And what are these bonuses? So as you see on the screen, I'm going to give you some words that you can add to your vocabulary, number one. I'm going to give you some expert tips as well. And more importantly, I'm also going to give you some video recommendations. All right. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to get started with the icebreaker. Let's see what we have in store for us. Oh, let's get to know each other using some simple Q&As. I'm going to ask you a question based on your personal experiences on the internet. I want you guys to be a little honest with me and maybe share your comments with me in the chat box. All right. So let's find out. The first question: how much time do you usually spend on the internet? So let's see what answers do you have. Yes, my dear participants, what do you think about this? How many hours do you spend on the internet generally? So I basically have a very fixed routine. I tend to spend, you know, mm, uh, almost an hour on the internet scrolling through my social media, checking my social media pages, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and that's generally during my evening walk actually. Otherwise, I think throughout the day it's very difficult to squeeze in some time and actually keep checking messages. So I make it a point to just have a slot throughout the day and just to make sure that I'm able to do everything during that slot. So Nehashri says minimum 50 minutes, maximum 2 hours. Absolutely, Nehashri, that's a very frank and candid answer. Thank you so much. All right, participants, time for us to move on. Let me ask you the next question. According to you, ladies and gentlemen, is it safe to give your personal details to someone you meet online? What do you think about this, boys and girls? I'm awaiting your comments in the comment section. Let's see what you've got to say about this. Do you think it's safe for us to provide our personal details to people online, to our online friends? Absolutely. All of you say no on Facebook as well as YouTube. Not at all. You cannot do that. Of course, you need to ask your parents. Absolutely, Neha. Let's move on to the next question, ladies and gentlemen. Which website is mostly used by you on the internet? So, what's your most favorite site, or maybe the social media site? Anyone? So I see a lot of viewers have joined in today. Participants, please feel free to share your feedback with me, your answers with me in the chat box. All right, so which website is mostly used by you on the internet? For me, it's the PlanetSpark website as of now because I have to keep visiting my LMS every now and then to keep a track of my students, their performances, their attendances, the activities going on. So that's my most frequently used website. What about you? It could be a social media website or something. Absolutely. Very well said, participants. So most of you say Facebook, Instagram. So true. Spotify. All right. Okay, participants. On that note, it's time for me to now introduce you to the three fundamentals of a TED Talk. Now, we have been discussing about this, I think, from the first episode. All right. And therefore, I would quickly like to throw light on these three terminologies that are fundamental, that the fundamentals of TED Talk primarily include three different pillars. The first one is a strong opening, which is all about beginning with a bang and ensuring that your beginning is eye catchy, it's enchanting, and it's informative at the same time. Number two is a big purpose. A big purpose is all about making sure that you talk about the importance of your topic and break it down into some different dimensions, different perspectives, and also present a summary at the end. Your personal touch, my dear participants, is all about ensuring that you add your personal experiences to the given topic. You add your personal experiences, your personal episodes, your previous knowledge on the topic given to you. So that's about the three fundamentals of a TED Talk. These are three fundamentals that can actually make or break your content or your script. So please ensure that you do have a strong opening, you know exactly how to incorporate a big purpose, and you know what a personal touch is all about. Now, what's the topic that we have chosen today? So, as you all know, my dear participants, the last episode was all about stress and de stress. We dealt with the personal touch, the big purpose, the strong opening, and now it's time for us to actually introduce you to a new topic, which is the enormous internet. All right, let's get started. How will we define the topic, the enormous internet? Now, this is not a part of your talk. This is a part of my episode, basically live episode, to help you understand how to deconstruct the topic that is the enormous internet. Enormous means huge. All right. So let's find this out. The internet is the wider network that allows computer networks around the world run by companies, governments, universities, and other organizations to talk to one another. The result is a mass of cables, computers, data centers, routers, servers, repeaters, satellites, and Wi Fi towers that allow digital transform information to travel around the world. It is that infrastructure that lets you order the weekly shop, share your life on Facebook, stream Outcast on Netflix, email your aunt in Wollongong, and search the web for world's tiniest cats. So basically, it is this internet, the power of this amalgamation of different elements coming together that helps you do so many exciting things over the internet. Moving on, participants, what's the agenda for the day? Well, today we will be discussing about the new topic that is the internet, but today we'll move on to the second fundamental, which is a big purpose. What is it, my dear participants? A big purpose. Now, you may ask me a question that, Ms. Weimer, why do we actually need a big purpose in a talk? Why is that needed? What is the need to have a big purpose? I do have solid information with some good assertions, reasons, evidences. Why do I need this big purpose? Well, the reason is very simple. You need to have a big purpose, my dear participants, primarily because the big purpose helps you emphasize on a given topic. It helps your audience know why a topic is important and why everybody needs to pay attention to the topic. That's the first thing. The second thing, my dear participants, it brings immediate attention on the relevance of the topic and it also engages the audience, right? You let the audience know how relevant the topic is by talking about the importance of it, by talking about the significance of the topic in their lives. And you have to also engage your audience. The best tool to engage with your audience is to incorporate the big purpose. Moving on, my dear participants, there are three essentials or three pillars of a big purpose, and I would want you to incorporate that in every talk you give, in every presentation you give, in every discussion you have with people in your social orbit, whether personal or professional. What are the three fundamentals? So, three fundamentals of TED Talk, we've seen that earlier. Now, three fundamentals or three aspects or three components of a big purpose, and they are number one, stating the importance, emphasizing on the importance. Number two, breaking down the topic into different perspectives and talking about them independently. Number three, bringing it all together at the end. In other words, summarizing, which I'm going to teach you step by step with proper examples. Now, think about this. How do you talk about the importance of the internet when addressing a group of audience? Let me give you an example right now, participants. Example number one is right here on the screen. Internet has opened a new world for many people around the world. Many opportunities are available here. It is a manifestation of never ending innovation and creativity. It knows no boundaries but brings huge economic chances for people in every single country. Internet basically allows people to improve the quality of their life. It opens access to the previously inaccessible things. With almost 3 million users across the world, internet has been emerging as one of the most important tools of communication. Think about it. This is exactly how you emphasize on the topic given to you. This is nothing but presenting the importance of the topic so that you'll be able to emphasize on the topic, bring the attention of the audience, raise how relevant this issue is, and at the same time engage with your viewers or audiences. Let me give you one more example and continue saying that internet is for everyone. It shapes a new platform in business and public services. It provides energy for more people to shape their own life by making advantages of the wide open opportunities. Right now, more people are still the internet users instead of network owners. However, along with this, its increasingly significant roles, internet will become a universally accessible platform, which will allow people to have improved quality of lives. However, to realize this, a regulation is necessary to ensure that everything is at the right line. So this is how you signify, how you highlight the importance in the best possible words. All right, participants, please do remember this. We talk about how the significance of the topic is relevant for audience engagement. You give examples and you write at least 7 to 8 lines on the significance. Moving on, let me quickly give you an expert tip right now. The expert tip is right here that the internet gives a broad social platform where people can utilize their talents and use them in whatever way they want. The internet plays different roles in different fields, and we know the recent examples of the overnight sensations basically stands as a testimony to this fact, right? Now, participants, a word to add to your vocabulary. Let me quickly share the word with you. It's e-commerce, pertaining to the topic we're discussing right now. E-commerce basically is electronic commerce, which is the act of buying and selling goods and services, transmitting the funds or data over an electronic network, primarily the internet. So all kinds of transactions and exchange of information taking place on the internet is a part of e-commerce. Let me give you an example of this word, participants. Amazon is currently the largest e-commerce website on internet. That's an example of e-commerce, how to use that in a sentence. Now let's quickly play a game. Who said this? One of your favorite games, I know. So I'm going to share some quotes with you on the internet. All you guys have to do is put on your thinking cap and tell me who said it. And if you don't know exactly who said it, you can also Google and let me know immediately in the chat box. Number one, anyone with an internet connection and an idea can develop an audience. Talks about the whopping and enormous power of internet in today's day and age. All you need is an internet connection and an idea that can change the world. And there you go, a game changer. That's a quote by Kevin Spacey. All right, a quote by Kevin Spacey. Moving on, here's another quote by Mark Cuba. Basically, he says that all you need is a laptop or a PC and an internet connection, and you can pretty much do almost everything and create almost any type of company. Again, this is the power of the tech startups these days, right? So that's what Mark Kuber says. I have another quote to share with you, my dear participants, which goes this way. Today, if you have an internet connection, you have at your fingertips an amount of information previously available only to those with access to the world's greatest libraries. So there was a time, an era wherein you had to ransack for books in the library to hunt for the right information. And today we know everything is available at the tip of our fingers, right? And that's how the world has been revolutionized by the internet. And this is yet another prominent quote on the power of internet by none other than Peter Singer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to move on to the second element of the big purpose. And what's the second element? It's break down the topic. How do you break down the topic and what do we mean by it? Please remember, it simply means that you talk about breaking down the topic means dividing the topic into different dimensions and talking about those dimensions independently. So right now break down the topic, the enormous internet, into two parts: reach of internet, benefits of internet. We talk about these two topics and then move on to the summarization. So, for example, reach of the internet. How do you talk about this? You can simply say that assessing the size of internet is somewhat difficult proposition since there is a distributed body and no complete index of it exists. It seems to be just over 1 billion people used the internet in 2008. Of these, about 500 million users of the internet at least once a week, making them more or less permanent citizens of the internet population. So that's about the data usage of the people. So the first point we've considered is reach of internet. The second point would be Eric Smith, the CEO of Google, the world's largest index of the internet, estimated that the size at roughly 5 million terabytes of data. That's over 5 billion gigabytes of data or 5 trillion megabytes. Smith further stated that in its 7 years of operations, Google has indexed roughly 200 terabytes of that, or 0.04% of the total size. compassion, generosity, and service as well. So that's how you talk about the first dimension, that is the role, the reach of internet. Okay, using some examples and using around 10 to 12 sentences. The next one is the reach of internet again. So you can also mention that when it comes to reach of internet, in 2020, the amount of data on the internet hit 40 zettabytes. A zettabyte is about a trillion gigabytes. One way to estimate the size of the internet is to look at the amount of information consumed by web traffic. According to Cisco's annual Global Web Traffic Report, annual global web traffic exceeded by a zettabyte for the first time in 2015. But by 2015, it's expected to hit 175 ZB. It's estimated that 500 billion devices are connected to the internet, and Cisco estimates that global IP traffic has grown to 2.3 billion in 2020, with more than 1.5 billion people going online, bringing the global internet community to 4.6 billion population. Oh my God, these numbers are staggering, and I'm sure they're enough to leave us spellbound. But you need to hunt for such information to share with your audience and eventually helps you break down the information effectively. There's something else you can add to your reach of internet, my dear participants. And as you see on the screen, with a reach of with over 560 million internet users, India ranked second largest online market in the world. India is the second largest online market in the world, ranked only behind China. It was estimated that by 2013 there would be over 650 million internet users, and despite in the country itself. And despite the large base of internet users, the internet penetration rate in the country stood at around 50% in 2020. This meant that around half of 1.3 billion Indians had access to internet that year. There has been a constant and a consistent increase in internet accessibility compared to what people went through exactly 5 years ago, when the internet penetration rate was around just 27%. So, what we do is we try to draw a glaring disparity between the people living earlier and the people living right now in the internet age. And that's when we see so many inventions coming up, so many opportunities coming up, making our lives more convenient and proficient. Moving on, my dear participants, benefits of the internet. Number one, research work. You could simply mention that the internet has a wide range of useful blogs, articles related to different topics, and the teachers and students can actually access any part of this from any part of the world and learn and research. So, number one, we know internet is the powerhouse of research. The second element you can incorporate is digital marketing. Nowadays, the internet plays a significant role in the digital marketing of any brand or product. The internet helps businesses reach a wide range of audiences from different parts around the world. There's another benefit I have for you, which is worldwide connectivity. With the help of internet, people, businesses, organizations, governments, authorities can connect internationally. In fact, anyone can learn about the different languages and cultures and beliefs and diversities of other countries while sitting at the ease of their homes. So the government authorities from different countries can actually connect to discuss various issues. This is yet another benefit of the internet: wild, worldwide connectivity, right? Moving on, my dear participants, the last benefit could be globalization, second last, because it focuses on establishing the global community, exchanging goods and services, country, culture, or population by removing physical boundaries among different nations and businesses. We know internet is not basically limited by any boundary of any country, right? And that's the reason why you can establish global economy. Last but not the least, free medical information. And all of us, I'm sure, are guilty of it. Many established doctors and medical practitioners basically run their different websites and blogs on the internet to provide more accurate details about any disease. Using social media platforms is the right way to spreading awareness among people about specific medical conditions. Now, moving on to my next game, that is add to your vocabulary. The word is cyber. Cyber is nothing but something related to the culture of computers, information technology, and virtual reality. That's cyber world. Let me give you a sentence to help you understand cyber basics adjective. So we're all living in a cyber age. That's a common sentence, and that's something we should be using. Cyber age. Now, participants, fastest fingers. Let's see whether you answer correct or not. Is internet addictive? What do you say? Participants? Absolutely correct. It is addictive. Next one, internet never saves time. Well, I wouldn't really agree with that because we know how much time internet saves. So we know that, my dear participants, that internet does not really save time. It does save time sometimes, but maybe if you're using it as a distraction, as a tool of distraction, it could be a, you know, a time killer. But otherwise, we know how convenient internet has made our lives. The next fastest fingers. Internet never saves time. No. All right. Now, last element, boys and girls, is bringing it all together. It's all about summarizing the points. Now, what do we mean by summarizing the points? Participants, it simply means that by the end of your speech, please try bringing all your points together. Point two, point three, point four, bring them all together and ensuring that you actually write a powerful conclusion at the end. All right, let me give you an example to help you and to help you write your own conclusions. So basically, today we discussed the enormity and outreach of internet, its benefits and scoops. It is obviously important to learn about the field that has brought under our world that has brought the world under our fingertips. Internet is a boon for all of us, for every age group, for every generation. And I'm sure all of us give a thumbs up to it because there's not an iota of doubt in that sentence. Okay, think smart. Let me ask you some questions and see if you're able to actually crack them. Number one, who's the CEO of Google? Well done, participants. All of you are absolutely correct. It is Sundar Pichai. Let's move on to the next question. Which is the most used website in the world? What do you think? Mm, I would guess it's Google. Let's find out. Well, yes, the correct answer is Google, my dear participants. Now, let me quickly give you a video recommendation. As you know, there are tons of videos on YouTube, plethora of videos on the given topic, and that's the reason why you need to know what exactly to watch to help you gain a sense of more clarity. And here's my recommendation for you. Watch this TEDx, the hidden network that makes the internet possible. Now, that looks like a very interesting talk, especially looking at the visuals. So, that's a you need to understand, my dear participants, that every time you are actually watching a TED talk, you need to first of all listen to the ideas carefully, meticulously, and jot down the key points the speaker is sharing with you. Because most of the people you see in the TED world are experts of their own fields, their own domains, and you need to basically grasp their concepts by listening to them, maybe a couple of times, and also jotting down the key ideas they share with you. Because every point they share, they also present illustrations, evidences, and resources while presenting these articles or these facts. So please ensure that you actually include them in your journal. You make a note of them, and I'm sure those points could come handy anytime you're having a discussion on the topic like the hidden network. All right. Moving on, my dear participants, what did we exactly do today? So, as you see on the screen, our agenda for the day was a big purpose. We talked about the second fundamental, a big purpose, and we talked about the three components of a big purpose, and they are importance of the topic, breaking down the topic, and bringing it all together by the end of your talk. That was the agenda for the day. And now you know the topic we're doing, the skills we are learning will be incomplete without a holistic implementation. So please remember, you need to keep a note on most used websites by you. Make a list of the tasks you perform daily using the internet and think about the benefits of internet that it offers to you and also your family. Now, my dear participants, in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the same topic, that is the enormous internet, but the theme would be a personal touch. All right, boys and girls, a personal touch. Now, if you have any questions to ask me regarding today's agenda, please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section. I would love to watch your comments, read your comments out loud. All right. So, my dear participants, with that, we come to the end of today's live episode, which is how to become a great TEDx speaker. In the last few minutes, I walked you through the agenda of a TED Talk. We had some discussion on public speaking in the beginning, and then we discussed about the three components of the three fundamentals of a TED Talk. And then gradually, we cherry picked one of those elements, those fundamentals, which is the big purpose. And then we studied the big purpose using the three different elements, like what we've just seen. Number one, emphasizing on the importance. Number two, breaking it down. And number three, bringing it all together. Right? So, participants, on that note, time for me to say goodbye to you. I'm going to catch you tomorrow with same alacrity. Please do join me. Stay safe, take care, and have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Bye bye. See you.